History usually remembers empires, vast armies, endless resources, power that feels unstoppable. But once in a while, history pauses and records something extraordinary. A moment when size meant nothing, when power failed, when a small kingdom, surrounded and outnumbered, refused to disappear. This is the story of the day a small kingdom stopped an empire. The kingdom was small in size but rich in determination. Its lands were limited, its population modest, and its army far smaller than the force now marching toward its borders. The empire approaching was vast, experienced, and confident. Its banners stretched across the horizon. Its commanders had conquered before. To them, this kingdom was just another obstacle on the road to expansion. From a distance, the outcome seemed inevitable. Inside the kingdom's walls, there was no illusion of strength. The people knew the danger. They knew the numbers. They knew the reputation of the empire that was coming. But they also knew their land. Every hill, every narrow road, every river crossing, every place where a large army would struggle and a smaller one could survive. While the empire prepared to overwhelm through sheer force, the kingdom prepared with precision. Scouts watched the enemy's movement carefully. Messengers moved quietly through forests and passes. Commanders studied maps by firelight, not to plan a grand attack, but to understand where the empire would slow, where it would stretch too far, and where control would be lost. The empire advanced with confidence. Thousands of soldiers marched in formation. Cavalry moved proudly at the flanks. Supply wagons followed behind, heavy and slow. Their strategy was simple. Push forward, apply pressure, end resistance quickly, but the land ahead did not welcome them. The roads narrowed, valleys tightened, hills rose on both sides. What had been a wide, powerful force slowly compressed into long columns. Communication weakened, movement slowed, horses tired, wagons struggled. Still, the empire believed this was only temporary inconvenience. The defenders waited. They did not charge. They did not reveal themselves. They allowed the empire to move deeper into unfamiliar ground. Every step forward made retreat harder. Every mile advanced increased exhaustion. When the first clash finally came, it did not come as the empire expected. The attack came suddenly, from high ground and hidden positions. The kingdom's forces struck where the empire could not respond properly. Narrow terrain prevented full deployment. Cavalry could not maneuver. Infantry could not form properly. Orders echoed uselessly through hills and forests. Confusion spread quickly. The empire tried to adapt, but the battlefield allowed no flexibility. Paths bottlenecked, units collided with each other. The advantage of numbers disappeared almost instantly. Soldiers were no longer fighting an organized enemy. They were fighting uncertainty, exhaustion, and terrain. The defenders moved with confidence. They knew where to step, where to strike, where to disappear. The land guided their movement and protected their flanks. What looked like chaos from below was control from above. As resistance weakened, fear took hold. When soldiers lose their sense of control, discipline breaks. When discipline breaks, even the strongest army becomes fragile. Retreat began in small pockets, then spread rapidly. But escape was difficult. The same terrain that slowed the empire's advance now trapped its withdrawal. Narrow paths clogged. Slopes exhausted fleeing troops. Forests disoriented them. The empire's strength turned into a burden. The small kingdom pressed forward carefully, never rushing, never losing control. This was not a reckless victory, it was a patient one. By the time the fighting ended, the empire's advance had collapsed completely. What was meant to be a swift conquest had become a humiliating failure. The battlefield fell silent, and the land returned to stillness. The kingdom still stood. News of the defeat traveled quickly, across borders and courts. Leaders struggled to understand how such a powerful empire could be stopped by such a small force. Explanations varied. Some blamed commanders, others blamed poor decisions. But the truth was simple. The empire underestimated the land and the people who understood it. For the small kingdom, this victory became more than survival. It became identity, proof that size alone does not decide history, that preparation, patience, and understanding can stop even the greatest power. This moment echoed far beyond the battlefield. It reminded the world that empires are not invincible, that even the largest forces depend on movement, coordination, and morale, and that all of these can be broken without matching strength. Throughout history, similar stories would repeat: small states, outnumbered defenders, impossible odds, and yet victory, not because of miracles, but because of choices. The choice to fight on the right ground, the choice to wait instead of rush, the choice to understand instead of overpower. That day, a small kingdom did not just win a battle. It changed the balance of power. It sent a message that would be remembered long after the empire moved on. And that is why this story still matters. Because it proves that history is not written only by the largest armies. Sometimes it is written by those who refuse to be erased.